Hello everyone! Today for our maths lesson, what we're going to do is we're going to still practice more and less. Now remember, more means you have lots of something like this, and less means you have only a little bit. Just like on this blue hand, I've only got less buttons on here. I've only got a couple, and then I've got lots of buttons on my orange hands. Now, instead of saying less, we can also say fewer. So I've got more buttons on my orange handprint, and I've got fewer buttons on my blue handprint. All right, so let's do a little bit of a warm-up with that, some practice. Let me just get some of these buttons back inside my bowl. Now you can do this at home as well. All you need is a piece of paper and a black pen, and you can trace your own hands onto your paper. And I only colored it in the handprint just so it was easier for you to see my buttons. Now let's do it again. So I'm going to ask you, which hand has more buttons? Will it be the orange one or will it be the blue one? Now a second here. I'm going to get the buttons on, and there. So let me just spread them out a little bit so you can see. Now, which handprint has more buttons? Is it the orange one or is it the blue one? And which one has lots of buttons on it? I think you're right, boys and girls. I do think it is this blue handprint, because let's see, how many buttons does it have? It has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 buttons, and this one only has 1, 2, 3, 4 buttons. 4 buttons is less than 6 buttons. So you're right, the blue one does have more buttons. There we are. All right, let's see, boys and girls. Can you tell me which handprint has less buttons, has fewer? Remember, fewer or less means you have only a little bit of something. All right, let's see. I'm going to grab a little bit of handprint fulls there. All right, spread them out. There we go. So which handprint has fewer, has less? Remember, less means only a little bit. I think you're right. It could be the blue handprint, but let's count and check. So the blue one has 1, 2, 3 buttons, and the orange one has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 buttons. You're right. The blue one is less. The blue handprint has fewer buttons than the orange handprint. Well done. That was a good warm-up, boys and girls. Now what we're going to do today, a little bit of, is we're going to talk about when we have 2 groups of objects and how many we have all together. So that's why I've done my handprints here for us today, is I'm going to put some buttons on this hand and some buttons here, and we're going to find out how many we have all together. All right, so let's try. So I'm going to put some buttons here and some buttons on this hand. All right, so how many buttons do we have here? We have 1, 2 buttons, and then we have 1, 2 buttons here. You're right. It is the same. Both handprints have the same amount of buttons. Now let's see how many we have all together. 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 4 buttons all together because we counted 2 buttons here and 2 buttons here. And then we counted them all together and we got 1, 2, 3, 4 buttons. Well done. Good counting, everyone. Now let's see. Let's do another one. So I'm going to take some in this hand and some in this hand. And I'm going to put them on to my handprints. There we go. Right, now let's see. We've got 1, 2 buttons on my orange handprint, and we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 buttons on my blue handprint. Now let's see how many buttons we have all together. Can you say that? All together. Let's count. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have 6 buttons all together. You say that, everyone. 6 buttons all together. So we added 2 buttons here, and we added 4 buttons on my other hand, and we put them together, and we got the number 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now let's do another one. Let's see. Let's do that. And there we go. All right. Let's see how many buttons we have. We've got 1, 2, 3 buttons here on my orange hand. And we've got 1, 2 buttons on my blue hand. How many buttons do we have all together? Can you figure that out, boys and girls? Can you count my buttons all together and tell me how many buttons we have? You're right, everyone. We do have 5 buttons. Let's count just to be sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 buttons. Can you show me 5 with your hand? Excellent, everyone. So we had 3 on this one hand, and we had 2 on this hand. And all together, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 buttons. Fantastic learning, everyone. You've done a really good job telling me how many buttons we have all together.